Inside of every one of you beats the heart of a warrior. We all get up every morning and eat what we kill. There's not a giant organization waiting to pay your salary, typically. We all go out and we make it happen every day. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and the philosophy with which I operate in life. If you're not living your dreams, then you're working so that someone else can live theirs. And I know that that is the type of mentality that real estate agents and appraisers and brokers all carry with them. Slide, please. I'm just like all of you. I graduated from Lee Summit High School in 1987. I went to Central Missouri State, graduated in 1991 and a half. I've been a certified real estate appraiser since 97. Where's Paula Voss? Stand up, Paula Voss. Paula Voss and I worked Y2K together at Jazz Lee Summit. Right? So when people say, where were you on Y2K when the world ends? Me and Paula were slinging beignets and Cajun fettuccine. All right? I'm trying to stress to you how absolutely everyday normal I am. I got my broker's license in about 2005. And Leslie Masker, is she here, Leslie? All right, she's out of the Lee Summit office. She sat right next to me, and I kind of copied off of her sometimes over her shoulder, right there working on my broker's license. And I am unbelievably blessed with you. I'm married to the best woman that's ever drawn breath on this earth, and every day she picks me up and puts me on her back and carries me through life. Leah, I love you. Leah brought me 3 great children that drive me absolutely crazy. See, I am just like you. I love what I do. I love being an appraiser. I've talked to lots of you in your offices about ways that agents can avoid appraisal pitfalls. I'm not afraid of agents. I actually believe that a competent agent on both sides of a transaction makes the appraisal job absolutely seamless. I'm the managing partner for Todd Appraisal here in Kansas City. The owner, Jason Ormston, CPA, Aaron Kelly, they're sitting right here in this room. And I'll tell you why here in a little bit. But we believe in our industry. Slide, please. At that point, I took a different path. 2005, Paula Voss came to me and said, hey, Chris, I'm thinking about becoming a real estate agent. And I said, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, Paula. Right? It's a horrible time to be an agent, 2005. The bubble was about to break, or it had broken. And you know what? Kudos to you. If you can make it these last 8 years and be as successful as you've been, you might be the best agent on earth. And we're all here being successful, killing what we eat as agents. After a very difficult time in the industry. That $20,000 money looked pretty good to this appraiser who wasn't really doing a ton of work at that time. And I was empowered by Jason at Todd Appraisal to give back. I'd seen a video. Did anyone ever see that when the levees broke about Katrina on HBO? Basically, there was a line to die in New Orleans. If you didn't have the medicine you needed to survive or were about to run out, you stood in that line over there and died. In America, there was a line to die. And that didn't get set right until the National Guard ended up showing up. And I'm not going to get into the politics of should it have been faster or whatever. What I'm going to say is that they fixed it. And I thought, I can do that. So Jason said, yeah, I'll give you some time off. Go do it. Basic training, advanced medical training, became a medic in 2007, and after that I was asked to teach a group of engineers combat life-saving. It's basically advanced first aid. And after one of those classes, keep in mind now, I've got a college degree. I've been a successful real estate appraiser for years, and at that point, I was a specialist. It's one step up from a private. So I'm 40 years old, and I'm teaching all these kids, and I'm looking out just like I'm looking at all you, and I'm teaching them all combat life-saving. And their first sergeant came up to me, and their captain came up to me and said, hey, Chris, look at all those kids. We're getting ready to go hunt IEDs on the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan, and not all of those warriors are going to make it back. But if you'll volunteer to come with us, you might be able to make a difference. Now, I didn't join the military to become a warrior. I joined to help out as a medic in case of a hurricane. But they touched my hero button right there that day that I didn't know I had, and I still don't believe that I actually have it. And at that point, I talked to my wife, and she said, if you're called to go, go. And I did. I deployed in 2009 to Afghanistan with the 1141st Sapper Company right here in Kansas City. I was blown up by a suicide bomber in February 12th, 2010, and I was medically retired from the National Guard October 23rd, 2013. Slide, and if you'll roll that Buffalo attack video. The Taliban was very gracious. They videotaped my attack and put it out on the internet so that I could share it with you today. Go ahead, Mr. I'm in the middle window of the driver's side, left side of the vehicle. Recognize that look? That look right there? That's the look of, hey, Mom, don't make a big deal just because I scored the winning run at the baseball game. Or, okay, I graduated high school, don't make it a big deal. We all have kids that make that look, that, hey, don't make it a big deal, right? Hey, smile for the camera, it's your birthday, right?
ومن الناس من يشري نفسه ابتغاء مرضات الله والله رؤوف.
You could see my everyday heroes running up to that truck. We'd received intel on the route that there was a bomb, and we were going to go dig it up so that everybody could drive around and not get blown up. And when we got to the spot where they said there was a bomb, there was a single occupant in a car, Toyota Corolla. So as my vehicle rolls up next to him, part of my element has already gone past. And I roll up next to him, and I'm looking out the window of my armor, got my head against the window, and I'm looking this kid in the eyes, and I'm saying, you need to move. We're going to dig up a bomb. They know what the vehicle I'm in. It's a Buffalo. When I look at him, and he looks at me, he reaches down between the seat, and he detonates the IED. And it completely disintegrated his vehicle. And I watched it happen, and this kid's maybe 20 years old. And I'd been home for 2 years when this video came to light. I'd been in therapy since I'd been home for PTSD and TBI. My wife suffers the slings and arrows of someone who every day might go from 0 to 10 at rage just over nothing. And you'll see that I stutter. You'll see me stammer for words, and you'll see me move my hands when I talk. I lost a part of my oral vocabulary in that blast. And when I'm moving my hands, I'm actually typing an appraisal report. Because I got really cool words there. And I say all kinds of fancy stuff. So what I'm doing is I'm accessing my written vocabulary to get to my oral vocabulary. And that's a workaround that my brain has done to get that done. After I got blown up, and I came home, and it shows up on the internet. It's been 2 years, and I'm healing, and one of my soldiers calls me, and he says, hey, Doc, I found the video. And my wife immediately says, do not watch it. Right? She's got me 2 years down the path of getting better. The last thing she wants me to do is start back at 0. Can anybody take a guess what I did? Mr. Hearn, what's your guess? Boom! Nailed it. Of course I watched it. That's the coolest thing ever. I've got a full-on Taliban-produced video of me getting blown up. It's better than in the movies. It's epic, right? Of course I watched it. And then my wife's like, all right. She gets her helmet on. She puts shoulder pads on, knee. It was a rough week. Right, baby? She told all the kids, be on your good kid behavior. Dad's on edge. Then I went to my VA therapist, and he said, Chris, tell me you didn't watch the video. Of course I watched the video, Doc. It's the coolest thing ever. He's like, all right, you got one choice. You can either make it your video and use it for your ends, or you can make it his video and let them use it to recruit terrorists and suicide bombers. So that's one of the reasons why I'm sharing it with you today. It's because this is my video. This is my story. This is my life. That guy's in a million pieces, and I'm right here sharing it with you as a motivational and inspirational story of a real estate professional in Kansas City who just signed on the line. Slides, please. "22 veterans a day kill themselves." Did you guys know that? Anybody ever heard that number before, 22? This table right here. You see who I'm pointing at? At this table right here, you see who I'm pointing at? You tables stand up. Please. All right, and you two stand up. That's how many veterans are going to kill themselves today. Look at it. That's how many killed themselves yesterday. That's how many are going to kill themselves tomorrow. Statistically, you guys can sit down, thank you. Statistically, that number is absolutely unprecedented in our society. And we have found that there are ways to combat that. Now, I'm going to go to the next slide, and then I'm going to read 4 slides to you really fast that have a lot of statistics. And then we're going to talk about how we're fixing it. Brain injuries are linked to PTSD. According to the New England Journal of Medicine, 15% of Iraqi soldiers had concussions or other mild TBIs while on active duty. Notably, these were more likely to have PTSD 3 months after their return home. Of soldiers who reported an injury that caused a loss of consciousness, like mine, 44, almost half, came home with PTSD. Next slide. According to the Army, only 40% of veterans who screen positively for serious emotional problems seek help. Statistics from Rand Corporation are even worse, finding that only 30% of veterans with PTSD or depression seek help. Next slide. The VA can only treat symptoms when the service member is here. They must make the active decision to become a part of society again. We need community partners to help us foster the desire to step out into the community. Recreational events are the single most effective first step out we've seen. Service members that have a go-it-alone mindset are attending these types of events and finding they're never really alone. They also realize there are entire communities of patriotic Americans that appreciate them and their sacrifice and are anxious to support them. This can provide a therapeutic epiphany that cannot be reached any other way. That's from a PTSD doctor, Kansas City VA. Next slide. Here's a quote. I'm going to read it to make sure I get it right. Too trapped in a war to be at peace, too damaged to be at war. That is the description of PTSD by the Iraqi war veteran Daniel Summers before he committed suicide. That's in his open letter to the VA on Facebook, his suicide note. After more than a decade of sustained conflict, we have generations of service members and family members who know nothing but war. Their battles are real. It never has a clear path. Restoration been more needed, yet absolutely found so scarce. 18 to 22 are killed themselves today and every day. And more veterans are dying from suicide than in combat operations. Saving the lives of these veterans must be our utmost priority. I would like to submit to you that I have PTSD. I have TBI. I'm a little bit nervous talking to a giant group of realtors because I'm an appraiser, right? I have lost the ability to get to my high-end verbal but I still keep going because that's how important this is to me. Now, how many of you today asked me how you doing? I know several of you did. What did I say? I'm living the dream. I say it every single time. You know why? Because I am living the dream. I get to help my heroes every day have better lives. Now, everybody look to the right and to the left of you. Look around. Guess what? That's the cavalry. That's who's going to help you. There's not a giant corporation standing around waiting to write giant checks and help everything. You are only going to help each other. We kill what we eat, right? Or eat what we kill. That means we have to take care of each other. We do it in the appraisal world. Now, I have a couple of my heroes here today. Jason Ormiston has been my best friend since college. He owns Todd Appraisal. And when the Foundation for Exceptional Warriors needed it, he stepped forward and became the president of our board. Erin Kelly, she writes every check that I use to feed my family at Todd Appraisal. When the Foundation for Exceptional Warriors needed it, she stepped forward and volunteered to become a board member and the treasurer. I guess what I'm saying is, we're all heroes. We're all everyday people. There's not a difference. It's just a matter of whether or not you're going to decide to step forward and make that difference. Slide, please.
That flew B-24s over Europe during World War II. Our group led the D-Day mission. We ended up as prisoners of war in Germany. It was a tough time. Yeah.
As I'm telling him, you need to move, he looks at me and pops the IED. Disintegrating a Toyota Corolla, picking up my vehicle and moving it almost 20 meters, knocks me completely unconscious for over 2 minutes.
When you had a Humvee and a convoy, you were going to get hit. And we got hit. I sustained some burns, minor burns, hearing loss, severe concussion, being blown in the back of the cab.
Another house opened up on us. And the first round went into my thigh, second was in my hip bone, and the third one went through my tailbone and just decimated it.
We had a IED go off next to my truck. I don't even know how to explain the feeling.
Some point during all those many blasts, all those many missions, it had taken the toll. I had some problems with the brain. I'd had my sinuses collapsed, all kinds of blast-related issues. I lost a lot of my peripheral vision, some of my hearing. My method of coping was to buy a large piece of property surrounded by government land in Oklahoma and just disappear. I was on top of a hill, avoiding society, avoiding everyone because of PTSD, I guess.
That's when we decided to start our own foundation, the Foundation for Exceptional Warriors, so that we could reach out to special operations, the valorous, and the combat wounded.
With the foundation, what we do is basically make a wish for a warrior. You know, if a guy wants to do something, we try and facilitate that. So I'm making this guy happy, who's a peer of mine, sometimes a friend of mine. And if he's happy, by God, I'm happy for him, and I'm happy to get to do it.
That was another resolution I made while sitting in POW camp. Every day quail season was open, I was going to hunt. And that comes if I did pretty well do that too.
You don't hunt in a vacuum. You hunt in a community. This gives them an opportunity to bridge the gap. Creates an opportunity for them to know that they're not the only one alone going through what they're going through.
Why do we use adventure? Why do we use the outdoors? How does that heal? You can't separate the mind from the body. If we take the body out and heal it, the mind will follow.
If you're thinking about hosting a hunt, if you're thinking about donating to the few, you're donating your time, your energy, your effort for yourself. Because the people that support these events are changed forever by being around these people.
It was the hunt that got us there, but it was the camaraderie that kept us there. If you fought and survived a war, and you fought and survived being wounded, then by golly, you can fight and survive for yourself. And that's what this foundation has done for me. It's given me self, and I'll take that today.
Being able to open me back up to where I like doing things, and I can go out and enjoy doing things with my wife and my daughter. It's a life changer. It brings you back.
Now that's what we do. That's what we've built. We saw a problem and we wanted to fix it, and we didn't just decide, hey, let's tell everybody about it and see what they do. We decided we're going to be the solution. That's what heroes do. Be the solution. And the Foundation for Exceptional Warriors, we believe that we are the solution to getting in front of this 22 veterans a day suicide. Rich Karasi, where you at, Rich? Wave your hand. Rich Karasi is one of the premier suicide forensic investigators in the Midwest and probably in the United States. A forensic suicide investigator looks at the environment and the situation that led to the decision of suicide in an attempt to fix the problem by fixing the environment that created the problem. And we've invited him here today to share with what we're doing, because I'm absolutely about to ask you right now to help. How can you help? Number one, spread the word. Share and like and everything else that you can do. You can refer a warrior. You all have my card. That card has my cell phone and my email on it. If you know a veteran in need, or you think you know a veteran in need, or you see a veteran who's struggling, or you see a wife who's frustrated with her veteran who's struggling, or a husband who's struggling with his wife, put us on. Put us on them. We'll call them and we'll ask them how it's going, and we'll make a difference for them. You can also host an event. Please, Lord, tell me that I'm about to get a yes to this answer. Who's got like a $7 million lodge that houses 15 people that you pay, the people pay like $1,500 a night to stay in and hunt or fish or... I'm looking at you, Mr. Hearn. I'm picking on Mr. Hearn today. If you know somebody like that, we can use that support as well. Terry, you a millionaire? Terry says she's a millionaire, but she's just almost a millionaire. But let me tell you who is a millionaire. McDonald's, Coke, Pepsi, right? Toyota, Midway Ford maybe, right? Kofeld title. What I'm saying is those type of large organizations are looking at organizations like our social media footprint. Did I say that right? Social media footprint, to see who they want to support. And their support can be invaluable, and it can be exponentially higher than most typical individuals can give. I would also appreciate it if you would invite your friends to like and share the few. And most importantly, share, share, share. Don't just like something, share it. Share it with everyone that you do. If you believe in our message, share it with other people, because we'll make a difference. Next slide, please. You didn't know that we were about to go interactive, but we are. Grab your cell phones. Pull them out. Come on. Let's do it. You got yours? Pull them out. Take a picture. Share it on the Facebook. In front of you is... I don't see any cell phones. This is not optional. That's what I like to see back there. All right? Right in front of you is a flyer. And on that flyer is a QR scan code, a QR scan code down at the bottom. Today, right now, this minute, the Foundation for Exceptional Warriors is kicking off a new campaign. It's called 2 cents. And it's simple. My mom, who's right here, wave mom. My mother-in-law, who's right there, wave mother-in-law, have said to me my whole life, put your 2 cents in. Or, hey, let me put my 2 cents in. Or, no one asked you for your 2 cents. Well, I'm asking you for your 2 cents. Right now, if you got 2 pennies to rub together when a vet commits suicide, you can commit to this journey with us. 44 cents a day, $13.20 a month on a subscription donation helps the few create a budget that we can continually plan for. Right now we live donation to donation. But that doesn't allow us to say, okay, next May we're good. But by getting enough people to commit to 2 cents every time a veteran kills himself, that will allow us to continually create operations where we can do this. And we're not just hunting and fishing. Whatever they want to do, we'll do. I threw a veteran with no legs out of an airplane last week. That didn't come out right, did it? I threw a guy who was a paratrooper who lost his legs in combat and wanted to jump one more time on his own terms out of an airplane last week. Right? That's the type of stuff that we do. And I'm asking you to join us. Next slide, please. That's what it looks like. You all have a copy of it front and back, right in front of you. Take it with you, and please share it with everyone you know. Because 22 veterans a day is an unbelievable resource to lose for our country. I'm not going to pick on Mr. Hearn this time. Who's a team leader in here? What's your name? Casey? Tracy? Tracy? You have 2 candidates. They're completely equal in every way. But one's a vet. Which one do you take? No. Take them both? I love a good team leader. Absolutely, you take them both. If you got somebody worth adding to your team, why wouldn't you add 2 if they're both exactly the same? But the fact that she'd bring the veteran on in addition to the other person is telling. And that's the type of attitude that we need these veterans to have. But more to the point, right now, that veteran might not have applied at all. They're on an isolation island. They're desperate. They're alone. They don't feel like anybody cares. And the more to the point, they don't care to care. And I could get every veteran that's going to commit suicide in Royal Stadium down at the K, and I could ask them all, hey, are you struggling with depression and isolation? And not a single hand would raise. But I can say, hey, who wants to go hunting or fishing for free? Who wants to take your family down to a cabin and just hang out for a week and maybe teach your child how to bait a hook? Right? Those are the things that I get people to say yes to. Next slide, please. So with this money, this is what we're going to do with it. Will you roll that video?
Last time we were together was in Bagram, Afghanistan. We were all wounded. We managed to get together this week for a pheasant hunt, Foundation for Exceptional Warriors.
And on December 11th, trucks got hit. I was the gunner and was medevaced out of the theater to Walter Reed, where I recovered. I broke both my legs, my left arm, both hands, ruptured an artery.
Spent 9 months in the hospital, was wounded in both legs, both hips, my left arm and left hand. The day of our going in there on our ambush, there were 6 killed and 19 wounded in my platoon.
With two of my best friends that were injured with me in Afghanistan in 2006.
You see these other people and you hear their stories and they're getting by, and you know, we're all can get by together. You know, we're not alone.
I'm going to share a story of an everyday hero with you right now. I did a radio show, and a guy called in. He said, hey, I'll buy that guy's plane ticket. And Cabela's had already offered to buy that guy's plane ticket. So I said, I'm sorry, sir, that plane ticket's already paid for. And he said, well, come on down to my shop. I'll give you a check anyway. $350. So I get down to the shop, and I go to meet with David Dale. And he said, Do you need more than $350? I'm going to quote you, Tracy. Is this a trick question? We can use all the help we can get, sir. How about 1,000? Yeah, that'd be amazing. So the Dale family helped fund our spring turkey hunt in an unbelievable fashion. And on July 4th this year, I got a call from David. And he said, hey, Chris, remember when we talked and you said I could sponsor a hunt in my parents' honor? And I said, yeah. And he said, I want to do that. I've talked to my wife, Judy. Judy, will you stand up? Okay. The Dales wholly sponsored that pheasant hunt for 7 warriors in honor of their parents. David's father was wounded in World War II and received a Purple Heart for those wounds. And while he was convalescing, he met a young nurse, Catherine, and she was an officer and he was an enlisted man, and they fell in love. So 10 days after they fell in love, it was expressly prohibited for them to date. So what do? Well, you get married, right? Of course. And then you only knew her for 10 days, but then you live happily ever after, right? And as a testament to their parents, or his parents and her in-laws, everlasting love and patriotism, they came out and supported those veterans. So let's give it up for the Davis. Thank you. And they made one request. Just one. My father was in the 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One, David said. If you could find a 1st Infantry guy, that'd be cool. Don't have to. Our support's not predicated on that. But if you could, that'd be awesome. So that older gentleman that was in that hunt, Russell Estes, he was a 1st Infantry guy. And you hear his story of the day that he was wounded, and 6 other members of his platoon were killed. 17 others wounded. And do you know what he said to me when I invited him on the hunt? No one's ever said thank you to me before, Chris. No one's ever said thank you to me before. And he was an unparalleled resource of knowledge for those younger veterans because he worked in the VA system for 25 years. He was a VFW post commander and other post-service organizations. So he showed up and he had all this street cred, like the kids would say, for those younger warriors. Because does anyone have a 20? Do you have a? You're not old enough. Does anyone have a child that's in their 20s? Do they know everything? Right? Right? They do know everything. And now think about how bad they'd be if they went to war, survived combat, were wounded, and came back. Now they really know everything and are jaded. So to have somebody like Russell Estes on the event was unbelievable because these guys that had never taken any advice from anyone since they've been back listened to him raptly on the edge of a log around a campfire as he told story after story of the ways that he was able to talk his wife into not leaving him after he lost it on a Thursday one day, or the ways that he was able to navigate the VA system, which is so unbelievably difficult. Those are the types of things that we do on these hunts. And I'm going to leave you with one last story. Those 3 warriors that were in the field together, the one in the wheelchair was their team leader. And he knew that they were about to get ambushed, so he positioned his warriors for the fight. And as soon as he got them all positioned, he was shot in the spine and paralyzed from the waist down. And that tall one ran out to get him, and he was dragging him out of the combat zone. He got shot. And so that round, bearded one hops up, and he starts returning fire, and he got shot. And together, the 3 of them managed to drag themselves to safety, and the rest of the platoon were able to suppress that ambush. And they hadn't been together again since they flew off the battlefield in a Black Hawk. But those are the types of people that are watching the gate for you. And those are the types of people that we need to support as we come home. Every warrior that puts on armor is a normal person. That we aren't heroes. We're just guys that signed up to do our job because we felt like it was the right thing to do. And just like you all are just regular old agents trying to get by and be successful, you have an opportunity with this group right now today to make a difference for each other. Because what does every warrior say? I was just doing my job. What does every hero say? It was just my job. What does everybody say? I was just doing my job. All right, well, if we all made our job helping each other just a little bit, our world gets to be a pretty damn good place to live. Does that make sense to everybody? Because that's what I do every day is I get up and I try to make everybody else's life a little bit better. Now, I wanted to let you know that my contact information is on the screen. You have my card in front of you. Please don't let a warrior be in need without putting them in contact with the Foundation for Exceptional Warriors. Please follow us on social media. And I wanted to thank you all for your gracious gift of time by allowing me to come out and share my story with you today. Thank you so much. Thank you.